It's Wednesday, and that means it's time to do a late night video. Warrior Wednesdays. We just started year 2 today of our Warriors WVOX radio program, and I couldn't be more proud and more thankful to you for being so supportive, so loyal, sending donations. It's all going to help people. The message of Lynn's Warriors is always education and is always supporting the survivor voice. And you know that. That's what it's all about. That's where your money goes. I have two, we're going to jump around a little bit. I'm in a room, again, that's freezing. There's all this air coming off the Hudson River and through the vent, but it's okay. We're all friends. Let's get to it. Let's start with a couple of things that are in the news. Yesterday, there was a congressional Senate hearing on Capitol Hill, spearheaded by Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut and also Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee. And it was with representatives from YouTube, TikTok, and Snapchat, or as they were referring to it as Snap, the parent company. Okay, Snapchat. A couple of weeks ago, we had Facebook and Instagram, which you know are the same company. And it's holding all of these big tech platforms accountable for the harms they cause our children. Harms such as bullying, such as eating disorders, things, there are videos on how to commit suicide, how to slit your wrists. There are viral challenges that have become dangerous. There are influencers that the kids don't realize are paid, endorsing products, companies. And the children look at this and the teens look at this and they think, you know, I want that Gucci pocketbook, or wow, look where they live, or oh, look at that car they drive. These impossible standards, you know, they're being duped. We know that the bottom line, I'm going to break it down a little bit for you, but we know the bottom line so far with all of these platforms is they have put profit over the protection and safety of our children. It's very clear cut, and we have all the evidence, all the evidence. None of these people could commit themselves to the Earn It Act, something that was passed unanimously in 2020. Senate Judiciary, bipartisan bill, Earn It, asking all of these big tech companies, platforms to step up. If there's child sexual abuse material on your platform, just take it down. It also opened up the idea that a victim could sue these platforms for their victimization and predation. We know, we've heard every one of these platforms. I listened for 4 hours to this congressional hearing yesterday. Not one of them would commit. Everyone said about the Earn It Act, I'm not sure, I have to review it. Now the language, and it has been around now for over a year. They know what it's about. Think of all these platforms, you know, they're getting away with hiding behind the Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. And the internet was born in 1996. A lot has changed in 25 years. And remember, wherever the children are, so are the predators. They have to start stepping up. They have to start revamping this Section 230 and updating it. We cannot have this continued war on our children. And it's exactly what it is. And the bottom line is money. Our children are the future adults. Our children right now are creating the web traffic. Our children right now are buying the products, the algorithms. I want to give you some of the facts about yesterday. So I will put on my glasses in order to read correctly. I can almost predict Facebook and Instagram, and I was correct. And I don't like saying I'm correct, the outcome. The good news is the Senate has promised that they're going to take action. And you know what? They did ask the right questions yesterday. They did their research. They didn't let any of these representatives on these platforms get away with anything. They did put into record their responses. There will be legislative action. That I can guarantee. But in the meantime, you have to be a warrior. You have to. You know the red tape. You know things take so long. Watch everything online with the kids every single day. But let's get back to this congressional hearing because I want you to understand really what went on. And most of you don't have 4 hours to be part of it or listen to it. So let me break it down for you a little bit. So it was called Protecting Kids Online, Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, we all admit that the internet can provide entertainment and does, and also educational opportunities. But there's also been tremendous where there's good, there's always misuse. Because again, the predators, the criminals always figure out how to abuse everything. We know. I'm going to start with TikTok. I have always called TikTok a crime scene. That's me. I believe it to be. It's owned by ByteDance, the parent company in Beijing, China, with their representative yesterday, Michael Beckerman, Vice President and Head of Public Policy, TikTok. This guy was out of his league. He would commit to nothing. He knew nothing. He had a smirk a few times. Ted Cruz really went after him. It was very good. Just wouldn't let him get away with what he was saying. A nightmare because we know he kept saying no, there's no security risk with China. China's not collecting our children's algorithms, their images, we know they are. What's China doing with all of this? Are they creating virtual replicas of our children? Will they? We don't know. We just know there's a grab for all of the information, for all of the digital footprints of all of us, but of our children. These children have grown up in surveillance. Think about this. And it's never been worse. There was also something interesting. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called kowtow capitalism. Have you ever heard of that? Kowtow capitalism is in China. You're not allowed to speak out. You're not allowed freedoms. Things are shut down. Recently, they just erased what were considered all of their celebrities. They thought they were becoming too influential, so they got rid of them. They just disappeared. Uyghurs, we know about the human rights abuses with them. What's happening with that? Forced labor, organ harvesting, something I rarely talk about, but I think I should really start talking about because we have to be more shocked. We have to know what's going on. That's a big thing in China, organ harvesting. We have on these platforms, including TikTok, which I'm talking about right now, drugs. Our kids are buying drugs on Snapchat, drugs, TikTok. Let's digress a little bit and go to the border. We know that so many drugs are coming over the border, the fentanyl from China. And recently, in Florida, enough fentanyl was confiscated to kill 500,000 people. It's shocking. Can you imagine what we don't catch, what we don't confiscate? Filtering into every one of our states. Every one of our states now is a border state. I think China is really trying to just kill us, but that's my opinion. Who's stopping the drugs? So TikTok, we know this gentleman, Michael Beckerman, tried to say that no, China's not involved. No, we have security people. No. Okay, a lie. He gets an F. He failed. Then we had Jennifer Stout, Vice President of Global Public Policy at Snap, otherwise known as Snapchat. Now, she was pretty good. She did say she wanted to work with the Congressional Committee on updating and keeping kids safe. And that's fine. But we have to also remind ourselves. She kept saying, all of them kept saying, well, let's stick with Snapchat for now. She kept saying, well, this was the alternative to make fun of and relax online. We're not like Facebook. We're not like TikTok and YouTube. We want short little videos that disappear. And we want people to have fun and put on those funny ears and noses but you know what, warriors? That information doesn't disappear. It goes into that mysterious cloud, or somebody somewhere's collecting it to do something with it. It's not innocent like everybody thinks, or these companies portray it to be. And I want to remind you, even with Snapchat, and she was the most agreeable yesterday of the three, and well spoken, I think. Until fairly recently, they had these viral videos speeding in cars where kids were getting killed. They took it down now, but you know, nobody's innocent. So for everybody to sit there, safety is our number one priority. We try to take these things down within 2 hours. 2 hours, not fast enough. And who are these people who are monitoring? We never seem to get the answers to that. Like, who exactly are these people making the decisions? Why? What are the exact rules? Like, there's not transparency. So the Senate was very good. I was very impressed with Marsha Blackburn, saying as a mom and a grandma, asking the tough questions or cutting them off, or they answer something that's not the question. So I'm giving our Senate, an A with all of this work so far, something I rarely do. They are working on it. I want to say, though, that with the kowtow capitalism, something that occurs in China, it's happening here. We are being shut down. We are being censored. And that happens because, let's see, China now owns a lot of the United States. China owns Hollywood. Therefore, Hollywood makes product that can sell in China. China censors the product. Kowtow capitalism. We have Wall Street. You all know about that and the Chinese investments. So they've got to toe the line there. We've got just major corporations, China. We've got China buying up and owning so many American farms now. What do you think that'll mean in a couple of years? Limiting our food, don't know. I just know it's kowtow capitalism, and we are not going, we're in it the way of whatever's happening in China. We're right behind them, and it's scary. Another reason we all have to be warriors, stay in the day and take care of our own families, our own children, with all of this going on. But I want all of you to realize none of these platforms that we all use are innocent. They want our children. Our children are the product. They want the money. They want that forever customer. And then there's YouTube. She was the worst of them all. Leslie Miller, Vice President, Government Affairs and Public Policy at YouTube. She was in some hotel room. I mean, she didn't even go to the Capitol. And I know when they don't go to the Capitol, I know what that's about. It's because, and she had some virtual background behind her. If you can't appear in person for something so important as this, my bet is you have to be somewhere where you can have people in front of you hold up signs with your answers. Or they came back at one point, and this happened a few weeks ago with Facebook as well. And the woman, this Leslie Miller, was muted and started talking, but you couldn't hear anything. And that's because she turned it down to talk to somebody in the room, would be my bet, while they were talking to somebody else. And she forgot to put her sound back up. If you can't appear under oath in front of Congress, something's going on. I bet that's it. You have coaches in the room with you. So we need improvements to our laws to protect our children. And it was amazing that the bottom line at the end of almost 4 hours, these three would not commit to the Earn It Act. Again, that is asking big tech companies to step up and work harder to take down this CSAM, which is child sexual abuse material, and work at better practices. And Earn It Act also includes creating a committee of survivors and corporations and big tech to come together and how to solve this, an ongoing committee. And I think it's a great idea. Remember, we're in a different world. You all know this. So we didn't get anything out of them. So now I want to see where this is going, and I'll keep you, of course, apprised of everything that happens. But it was so interesting, that they just will not commit. They just want the money. And then last night, late at night, I received some sort of memo that YouTube, highest quarterly earnings ever from their parent company, Alphabet, something, they're in the billions, all these people. Money, 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 money. So we had that going on. So the holidays are fast approaching, and I have no shame. I am drinking right now out of my beautiful Lynn's Warriors mug. Let me take a sip here of water. And I am writing in my Lynn's Warriors notebook that I carry around with me. And you can go to cafepress.com. I have pajamas and sweatshirts and mugs and glasses and keychains and pillows and blankets and stuffed animals. And you can order. I have no supply chain problems. And you can order some products for Christmas, and they will get to you in a timely fashion. And they're very well priced. And you'll be supporting my education work. And all of the proceeds go to survivors that I work with of human trafficking, sex trafficking, sexual exploitation. No supply chain problems here. The other company that I'm partnered with and I adore is called Thistle Farms, Thistle, Thistle Farms. The website is thistlefarms.org, located in Tennessee. And their hashtag is Love Heals. And Thistle Farms, let me tell you about them. It is a group of women, all survivors of domestic violence, sex trafficking, drug addiction, who've beat it all. I want you to read about their empowering stories. Go to thistlefarms.org. I work with Katrina, a doll. They market, well, they create with their own hands, package, market, ship, follow up, beautiful items, candles, bath and body products, really good quality. They use all wonderful ingredients, natural ingredients. They have jewelry, they have clothing. They also have a line of artisans across the world, different women survivors. This economic, again, empowerment keeps them going, keeps them away from this life, because remember, it's about money, vulnerable people having no money. When you're hungry, you're hungry. You do a lot of things to get a hamburger. I'm very unfortunate and sad. That's the story. And by supporting the cafepress.com Lynn's Warriors, that's my shop, thistlefarms.org, you're supporting the survivors. And with all this supply chain talk, and who wants to go to stores and deal with that, and people running around in the crowds, and that's okay. Sometimes we like the hustle and the bustle a little bit. Make it easy on yourself, warriors. Shop and support survivors. That's that. I also wanted to talk about that next week on my Warriors radio program, next Wednesday at 3:00, my guest will be Esperanza Fonseca. Let me tell you about Esperanza. She is a Latina, trans, activist, feminist. Now just hear me out, warriors. This past Sunday, October 24th, CNN does an original series, CNN original series, This Is Life, with host Lisa Ling. I don't really watch CNN, but I wanted to see my friend Esperanza, who was going to be in this show. And I want to tell you the exact name of it was called Sex Work, Past, Present, and Future. And the program was going to be all about the full decriminalization of the sex trade happening here in New York and rapidly across our country. So, of course, it was going to be a full-on debate, I thought, presenting both sides. Esperanza, like the Warriors, believes in the equality model, that we don't hold prostituted people responsible. We help them should they want. We help them get out of that life. We give them exit strategies. We give them resources, safe housing. We give them job training. Look what's going on right now. Everywhere I go in New York, every business owner I know, every restaurant in New Jersey as well, in Connecticut, Long Island too, says to me, when I ask, how's business? Every single one without fail. I don't have enough employees. Where are the employees? Where is everybody? You know, the unemployment's over. How are people making money? What's going on here? Where are the people? Why not take some people that really want to work and make an honest living wage and train them? But see, the other problem is when you're a prostitute, many times you have so many, you get arrested, you have a criminal record, or that pimp or trafficker get you involved in other crimes, robbery, or dealing drugs. You have a criminal record, so you can't. I know a lot of prostitutes, they try to get a job and they want it out of that lifestyle. Criminal record, they couldn't get a job, they couldn't get housing, couldn't get anything. So we want to work with the equality model, which will give these exit strategies, should they want, and will help clear their records, work on their records to give them a chance. But we want to hold responsible those who cause harm. So it's really a partial decrim, a decrim for the people in the sex trade, but holding responsible the pimps and traffickers, brothel owners, sex buyers, any illicit spa owners. In New York, recently, the New York Post put out brothels 2-to-1 with Starbucks. We have twice as many brothels as we have Starbucks. And you know how many Starbucks we have here? So many. So we'll call it a partial decrim, the equality model. So sex work, past, present, and future on CNN was going to be presenting both sides. Well, the most of the program, propaganda, I dare say outright lies, a couple of them, totally pro sex trade, presenting a young woman who works at the Bunny Ranch in Nevada, who is the highest paid sex worker at $1 million a year, if that's to be believed. And she looked so young, and I'm sure, I don't know her age. She looked 14 or 15 to me, but I'm sure, I don't really know her age. She was laying out all her lingerie for Lisa Ling, who was smiling, and how she meets her dates. They're called dates. It's oppression. It's the world's, you've all heard the world's oldest profession. Well, we're rebranding it the world's oldest oppression. And you have to keep in mind, it's mostly our vulnerable girls and women of color. We have studies where the sex trade is legal, whether it's New Zealand or Germany or in Nevada, some of the counties. There's a pimp, there's a trafficker. These women are flourishing, making $1 million a year, free will, free this and that. I'm sure there are a couple, but that's the exception, because we do have studies that say, one study says, we have different studies. It's like between 80 and 90% of people in the sex trade definitely want out. But they can't figure out how to do it. They're beaten down emotionally. So why do we want to keep people in this oppression? So next week on the Warriors WVOX, Esperanza will be my guest. And what they did on CNN is they edited it, and they gave our side of talking about the equality model, the alternative to full decrim, this partial decrim, makes sense to most rational people, is, they gave her a few minutes. They just edited her interview and didn't really, she was the only one representing the equality model. And they had various other women representing the pro-sex trade. And can you imagine Lisa Ling and driving around in a car, showing girls walking around in shorts in rainy weather. Everybody's a smile on their face and it's empowering. And no, it's not. It's oppression. It's harmful. These women are beaten. Their monies are taken. Anyway, so I suggest if you go to something I've never actually suggested before, but if you go to CNN and look for This Is Life of Lisa Ling, CNN original series, look for Sex Work, Past, Present, and Future, look for that link and just watch it. And then we'll talk about it next week, if you can. I also, with our good friend Esperanza, this past Monday night, she did an Instagram live with Ashley Judd. And Ashley is an activist and feminist. And feminist in the sense these days, that word has been lost, has been retooled. I don't know, a feminist to me these days is you're really working on these issues of trafficking or sexual exploitation, or you want people, like I want people to do better with the equality model offered to get them out of the life, give them training, give them, the example I go back to all the time are these women at Thistle Farms. So humble, so grateful to work, to have a job, to have a schedule. They've beat their addictions. They've gotten out of these lifestyles. That's why their hashtag is love. Love heals everybody. And we need Thistle Farms, we need this model all over our country, lifting people out of oppression, not keeping them in these harmful environments. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Think about it. So I want you to find that. But Esperanza, so I watched the Instagram live. And that's why I want Esperanza on the show next Wednesday. She very clearly, has been through so much and worked in the sex trade and has the power and strength and bravery now to come out against all of this. Because the narrative now is we need full decrim because there are no other jobs for our trans community. And I keep saying every day over and over, no, we want to empower them. We want to give them education and job training. And is that all we think of our trans community? They're only good for sex work. By the way, sex is not work, so I'm going to take that back. Sex, remember, there's still an imbalance of power. Somebody's paying you. You're prostituted. You are still under the control of the pimp lobby. Did you know there's a pimp lobby? Because, okay, let's get into it a little bit. That there's a lot of like fetishes around the trans community. And again, the pimps, the traffickers figured out fast, this vulnerable community. We could step in and make a lot of money off of them. But behind this whole full decrim is there's a pimp lobby. I kid you not. And also there is a demand, as we are habituated to all of this normalization of prostitution and normalization of the sexualization of our children, as we become habituated, and the demand, nothing's shocking. What's the next shocking thing? Well, the next shocking thing is the demand for children. It's going on now. It will only increase. Do not let your child or your grandchild, any child you love, be next. I am told this by law enforcement here in New York. They're already coming in from all over the country. The demand is for children. They're bringing children and other people here. They're warehousing people up in the Bronx, getting ready for this full decrim. Can you imagine? It just leads to more human trafficking. It's very simple. No rules, more demand. More people are going to be enticed. More people are going to try things. To fill that demand, you need more people. You need more kids. They're going to traffic people. No little girl or boy wakes up and says, Mommy and Daddy, I want to be a prostitute. It doesn't happen. There is no such thing as that movie, Pretty Woman. And don't fight me on this. I'm sure there are some prostitutes that are making, very few, you know, making some money and living perhaps a good lifestyle, call girls, whatever you want to call them. But that's not what we're talking about here. That is still oppression. That's very few. This can't go on. Where does it stop? I see my virtual background. It's a little annoying, and I also move when I talk, so things pop up. So just kind of bear with me on this. It's about the information, not my virtual warrior's background that is changing as I speak. So that's that. And we also had an emergency meeting in Vermont this past Monday. Vermont wants to go full in, Burlington, Vermont, on the full decriminalization. And we had advocates from around the country, very last minute flying from Washington. We had survivors, former prostitutes, the harms this full decriminalization will cause. It all leads to more sex trafficking because there's more money to be made. It's always about the money. Even the platforms we talked about, it's their advertising dollars. It's, that customer, that web traffic. That's where they're making all the money. We cannot allow this. And that's why in your own home, you have to start with digital safety and things like that. There was also some good news this week, actually a couple of weeks ago, but it came to light this week. So yeah, the media doesn't share these things. So how are you supposed to know? Unless I find out and dig around, it's reported or I'm working on it. Because mainstream media, I don't even want to call it mainstream media anymore, those propaganda machines. Can't be trusted. And you know that. But anyway, it is now illegal in Texas to employ 18 to 20-year-olds at any sexually oriented business. 18 to 20-year-olds are now considered children, making it a violation to employ or induce young adults younger than 21 to work nude, topless, or in any sexually oriented commercial activity. That crime is now in Texas a second-degree felony, regardless of whether the person knows the victim's age. It carries a 2-year mandatory minimum sentence, a maximum sentence of 20 years, and a $10,000 fine. Of course, the fine's a little light, in my opinion. But at least it's a step in the right direction. We cannot have our children. People say to me every day, like, why? Because right now, with all this disinformation and disruption, our children are the product. Our children can make money. I can't imagine where all this is going, but we're going to stop it because we're warriors. So we have that. And I also want to, as we end, we're going towards the end of October, remind everybody that October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, we have Pizza Day and Donut Day, and we've got Suicide Month, domestic violence, human trafficking, all great. Keep a list, preferably in your warrior's notebook. And we have to keep on these issues every single day, not just one day, not just 1 month. I want you to all know the domestic violence hotline. You can call and ask questions 24/7 free. You can just chat. They will direct you to local resources. It's such a huge problem. I was reading, I read various studies, and remember, they're all a little different. These are underreported crimes, but it's like 1 in 5 teenage girls are involved in relationships with teenage boys that abuse them. Okay, so that's like 20%. Then I read something, a couple of different studies. Again, that 1 in 5 are actually involved in sex trafficking. And that could be your teenager, comes home and sleeps every night in their own bedroom. But this boy, pretends to love them. It's the grooming process, the Romeo process, they call it actually. Why are our young girls so vulnerable that they would accept a boy who may start out, dating, being nice, treating them well, and then eventually says, okay, I need a little money. Just do it this once. My friend likes you. Do it for me. If you love me, you'll do it. And the girls always reluctantly do it. And remember, parents and grandparents, share with your children, because these kids are savvy. If it feels wrong, or, you know, it usually is wrong. And why I say that, I want to go back to like a little digital safety. So many kids have said, well, I sent that photo, even though I knew it wasn't right. We have to do better at talking to the kids, reassuring them they're not getting in trouble. We have to be the adults here. We have to take control. You're not going to get in trouble. Just tell me what happened and we're going to fix it. Like, that's it, no matter how horrible it is. But then you have to know what to do. Like, if your child came to you and said, okay, this person sent me this image, would you know what to do? If you saw something on your child's computer, like behind their back, or the computer was left open, or their phone, any of these devices, how would you confront your child to deal with this? You have to know what to do. One of the best sites, let me give you some resources. Go to missingkids.org. That is the National Center on Missing and Exploited Children in Alexandria, Virginia. They have various studies. They have their tip line. Number one, any nude image, sexual dialogue directed at any of us, and especially children, is a crime. This is human trafficking. Remember, think of trafficking as something that moves. An image online moves. A dialogue online moves. Something, even as, take your top off and send me a picture. Force, fraud, or coercion. And so many kids are doing this. Why? We have to really begin as examples, no matter what happens, no matter how tough it is, how to address this. The first thing you do is you call 911 and you report it to your local law enforcement. The second thing you do it all at the same time, is you go to missingkids.org and you get that phone number and you call them and you hand this off to them and they will take over. And remember, you never share any of these images at all, especially of children, because that further victimizes them and you can actually legally be held responsible for sharing. So be very careful. You just want to call 911 or your local law enforcement all at the same time. Go to missingkids.org, file a complaint with them. They're the home of the Amber Alerts. They will take the case over and start investigating. And isn't it crazy we have to sit here? I am so angry, but determined and passionate that we have to discuss all of this. These are minors. We have laws already on the books for all. These are children. We have to fight. There are lawsuits. There's a lawsuit in the state of Nevada right now for, even though brothels are considered legal in some of the counties, that the women are trafficked and victims of sex trafficking. That goes on. Who's talking about that? We have lawsuits with Twitter and minors, children trafficked on Twitter, on Facebook, on every single platform. I'm tired of hearing these fun little platforms. Sure, with safety features, you can reasonably use all of these platforms. I, of course, would recommend, and I can't tell anybody what to do really, keeping kids off of. And it's a tough thing, especially with teens. They've grown up with it. And we didn't know all this information until fairly recently. Snapchat, yeah, it looks like a cute little thing. Somebody sends me images. People my age send me images with the ears and noses and all that stuff. And TikTok, every time I go on my phone just to go to Instagram, these videos pop up of women dancing and kids dancing and dogs, and it's a constant barrage. But now we know better. These are criminal platforms. You got to look at it that way. And you know what? We're overwhelmed. We're tired. We're exhausted from COVID and everything that goes with that. There are companies that will help you. always suggest Protect Young Eyes. The website is protectyoungeyes.com. Here you will find free safety filters. You will find information on routers. Did you know you can split routers, turn off one device to the other device? Go on protectyoungeyes.com and learn more about this. Webinars. There's also, it's our good friend Chris McKenna, runs protectyoungeyes.com. He has 4 children. And he couldn't find a way to protect his children a few years ago. So online, so he started a company. That's what we like. That's a warrior, proactive. And Chris also does a series of these little nugget videos with information, things you can watch with your children and then discuss. And that might be because a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but we have to. So you watch the little 5-minute video and then you discuss it with your child. You know, you open the communication up. And I am telling you, the kids want reassurance. The kids want to know we're right there with them. We need to make the kids our partners. This is the only way I can see getting around this and making a dent and intervening and having protection. Something as simple as if somebody sends you an inappropriate, come to me right away, because that is a crime. And if you, little Susie, send a picture of yourself, do you know that's a crime? That you can be held accountable legally for that, for child sex trafficking, for what's called CSAM, child sexual abuse material. So we have to talk about all of these tough issues. But I want to swing back to October as we finish out the month, is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And you need to know that number, 1-800-799-SAFE, 1-800-799-SAFE. Utilize these free resources. You've got that. You've got a human trafficking hotline, 888-373-7888. They will connect you. They will chat. They will connect you to local resources. The best thing I can suggest is going to amissingkids.org and reading the different studies, take actions. Also, always go to linswarriors.org. There's so much information. And of course, I'm always behind because I'm always running around working. That's no excuse. I'll be loading on some information tomorrow. Just different things you need to know. And please support the work I'm doing. The education, the warrior workshops. I will come for free and talk about things you can do in your own home. But no, there's so many resources out there. Okay, so I just gave you missingkids.org. Also, go to the protectyoungeyes.com. Also, go to Bark, B-A-R-K. I always tell you about Bark, like a dog, bark.us. For a very small fee, the price of a latte for little kids, there's 2 different programs, and there's it's $5.99, then there's a $9.99 a month. They will monitor all of your children's social media apps for you. I used to not like the word monitoring until I know what I know today. And we have to monitor. We have to know what's going on. So, you know, for $5.99 or $9.99, they will alert you. You connect the phone, you connect all the devices. If an image comes in, something they think is harmful, or your child's doing something, they contact you right away. And there's a trial at bark.us that you can try for free. So why not try it for free? You know, I want all of you to listen to me because I do have people, when I do tell them about these things, they say, not my children, not my grandchildren. It's all around. It's all around the adults. You see all the sexual content out there, this push for it. You see the programming. You see everything I'm doing and others. There are a lot of great advocates out there, a lot of great activists. You don't get to hear their voice because we are sometimes censored. For instance, with that CNN, it was supposed to be about presenting both sides. And our friend Esperanza was certainly the only one representing what we believe should be the equality model here in New York and across the country. And the show was given over to how great it is to be in the sex trade, how you control your body and you make money, and I can't have it. Can't have it. Let's finish off with a couple of things I want all of you to do. really start listening to me and get into this digital safety, and for yourselves as well. Don't ever click on any strange downloads or links. And I think most of you know that, but remember, people pretend to be other people online. We have to also address disrupting this whole cycle that's going on. And that's what we're doing here at the Warriors. But we also have to address ending demand. Why is there such a demand for, we do know that pornography is fueling a lot of this, the availability of pornography, the kids are watching a lot of pornography. Kids are then going out and replicating, not even going out. There's a big problem that's really never talked about, how kids are watching pornography and then replicating what they see on their siblings. Huge problem nobody talks about. Why not? We need to talk about it. We need to talk about, boys are pressuring the girls in high school. They're watching things because it's so becoming so normalized and so available. And then they pressure the girls and want the girls to do these same acts they see online. Now, I want to make something very, very clear. I'm not some crusader. I'm not some prude. I started out in the music business. I've seen it all. I've been around it all. This pornography is so harmful, and there's so many children and teens in these videos. It's illegal. They're minors. This is not just two adults having sex. And the categories are horrible. Black girl with braids, under 6, 12-year-old looks 5, anorexic girls, harmful stuff, garbage, horror. That's what kids are watching and then replicating and hurting each other. Our good friend Lila Mickleway did an excellent job with Pornhub, getting a lot of the children's videos removed. There's still more, but single-handedly with our trafficking hub has worked the last couple of years doing an amazing job. A word, again, I don't use a lot, amazing, because it's overused, but she certainly has. And Justice Defense League is what she formed, and we'll be having her on the Warriors radio program in the next couple of weeks. I've been talking to her. It's all too much. It's all overwhelming. So stay in your lanes, stay with positive information. Always go to linswarriors.org. And remember, one thing a day. You can go to my Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, Lynn's Warriors, very simple. Retweet that picture of that missing child. That's a take action. It's easy to do. Go to Facebook, put that missing child. It just takes a pair of eyes to see one of these missing kids, and you find them on my Facebook and Twitter, but also at missingkids.org, pages and pages. I mean, it's so heartbreaking. Where are all these children, teens, all people? That was the good thing about Gabby Petito, that recent tragic case that I know it was reported that 5 people were found while they were looking for her, but I heard it was 9 people. I don't know why there's even a discrepancy. So there's 9 people. It's even better than 5 people. 9 people that were. So the good news about that is that media coverage did open it up for people talking about it, looking. Recently, the Tampa Bay Times also did excellent. I've been urging media, please, we're in a 24/7 news cycle, repetitive, horrible. You could take 5 minutes a day. You could post stories and pictures of missing people. We need to do this every single day. There's so many Gabby Petitos out there. I mean, it's our duty as human beings to face this and start working on it. I was also let's finish up with, I was very disappointed. We had a call to action yesterday. There was a mayor's race going on here in New York. And our 2 candidates, Eric Adams and Curtis Sliwa, were going to have their final debate last night. And this was on Channel 7, ABC affiliate here, moderated by an ABC local anchor, Bill Ritter. Our call to action during the day was to please contact these people and let them know we want their thoughts on this full decriminalization of the sex trade that nobody talks about. Well, I, along with many other advocates, deluged. They were writing questions, send us a tweet, and then they don't answer them, but we still do it because I'm still convinced. Take actions. Wear people down. Just keep going no matter what. Well, of course, I watched the whole debate. Didn't address it at all. And to end it with, so tell us, Eric, what do you like about Curtis? Tell us one nice thing. Curtis, what do you like about Eric? And Eric says, I like that Curtis, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but it went something like this. I like that Curtis saves cats. Because, Curtis lives with, 17 cats in a studio apartment. And it's all about the shelters. And okay, we love our pets, but we're talking about people here. And then Curtis, what does he like about Eric Adams? Well, he likes that Eric Adams is a vegan. And that can help people. That's pretty good, I guess. Helps people, change their lifestyle and become more healthy. But nobody had time. Bill Ritter, Eric Adams, Curtis Sliwa, to talk about the full decriminalization of the sex trade. That all of our new DA, I think we just had our AG Tish James announced she'll be running for governor. Right before I started this, I got some sort of alert. These are people that are all leaning towards the pro-sex trade environment. Can't have it. Because we have, warriors, more slavery going on right now in the United States than any other time in history. That's a fact. And that slavery is called human trafficking. And that slavery is called sexual exploitation. And that slavery is what these big tech companies are doing to our children. And we better start talking about this. And we better start addressing it. And we better start taking actions in our own homes, which will trickle down into our communities and strengthen everybody. And I know we can do it. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of thoughts, what we have to look forward to. A reminder that I have begun the warrior workshops across New York and the United States. I will come into the community and talk with you. And you'll ask questions. And I'll give you my handbook with free resources. I also always want you to support the survivor voice. And that would be cafepress.com, Lynn's Warriors, for all of your holiday needs. No supply chain problems with us. Thistle Farms, thistlefarms.org, wonderful survivors. We need a Thistle Farms in every state, and we're working on that. I'm also working very hard on bringing mandatory K through 12 human trafficking education to every school district. We have a couple of states. We have Florida right now, Virginia. We need it all over. We need the kids to know what exactly it is, because most kids I talk to, they don't know sharing an image online. Not only is that illegal, it's sex trafficking. Anyway, I'm here for you. Please always support the great work I'm doing along with others, all of these critical and crucial issues that affect all of us. Go to lynswarriors.org. Find out how you can help. Take action. Find out how you can be a part of all of this, because it's about our children.